some areas of that kind of like party, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. It's okay to just leave that.
Yeah.
Okay, I want to welcome everyone to the Claremont branch of Berkeley Public Library. This is a series that happens 3 times a year. I run it. My name is Glenn Ingersoll. It's called Clearly Met, and it happens February, June, and October. So this will be the February. So our first reading for 2025, and a good start for 2025. We're welcoming Kimi Sugioka. I'm going to read from her bio in the back of the chapbook that I hope everyone has. I also want to alert you that I have a little book truck at the entrance that has a dispenser for chapbooks for all the past poets, and there are 2 past poets here today, so maybe you can, like, after the reading, paw through it and pick out the ones that you like. Kimi Sugioka is a mother, educator, songwriter, and poet. And she brought her guitar today, so she will sing for us. She earned an MFA from Naropa University and has published 2 books of poetry, the newest of which is Wile and Wing from Manic D Press. She has been published in numerous anthologies and is currently poet laureate of nearby Alameda. As an active board member for literary arts organizations, Kimi curates and hosts readings in Alameda and San Francisco. She believes creating community through art is a revolutionary act. Let's welcome Kimi Sugioka.
Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming today. The weather's so beautiful. Hopefully you'll have time to enjoy it afterwards as well. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading and a little bit of singing. And I'm going to start with a tanka, it's very short, called Kintsugi tanka. Does everybody know what Kintsugi is? Yeah, it's an art form, a Japanese art form where you repair a broken like pot or glass item by using gold lacquer to fill in the cracks. And it got so popular that it became an art form in itself. Like now people go around breaking pots so they can put them back together again. Anyway, so this is kind of about being broken. This cracked vessel boasts soldered golden lacquered veins, steel shoulders, belly, steeping fragrant leaves potent with tender flames of absence. And I think I'm reading a sort of an Ars Poetica. Maybe it will help you know a little bit of my writing, why I write. In search of, I take up the pen again and again in search of reason. Never sure what font of sense or incense will arise when the sky is clouded by windows, fogged by the breath of dreams trapped in an Armageddon of convenience, where everything is disposable, including humans who walk the street, muttering, yelling, and shaking a fist at enemies who are only invisible to them. Scrambling for scavenged pennies, overflowing the pockets of moguls who rabidly trade stocks like baseball cards in a drunken, avaricious trance. Hi, come on in. American zombies. America's exploding and battle lines are global and everywhere invasion is a pretense of defense. Control is key. Just turn on the TV. It's not just what they say, but what you have to pay for how you should be living, how you should be dressing, which pills you should be popping, which food you should be eating, where to spend all your money on all your favorite things that you don't really need. The right choice will set you free so you can get in line or win a trip to Hoboken or find yourself broken into 1,000 points of blight. Zero tolerance for diversity, all hail homogeneity, and pay tribute to the American zombie. The dead are running Wall Street, the living sound asleep. The living dead are riding in self-driving Teslas that run into walls no one can see. It's not a question of mortality, but an equation of morality that will bring us to our knees or give us the courage to break free so we don't come to be American zombies. Am my politics showing?
You're among friends.
Okay, let's do something a little bit less quieter. Moonlight meditation. This is a duplex. It's probably the 30th version. I find them hard to write. The progeny of moonlight spawn only when a mountain holds its breath. The mountain breathes rivers and streams, sequestering lava fountains and flows. Basalt, dacite, rhyolite, andesite foretell a millennia of volcanoes that do not wait for lullabies. Simmering volcanoes catapult lullabies in molten forays into the souls of migrants. Molten-eyed migrants seethe with grief for relations lost to a rippling sea. Rippling seas of refugees weep to remember ancestral homes lost in perpetuity. Migratory ancestors travel a celestial ecliptic where the progeny of moonlight spawn.
You can read that part over again.
Migratory ancestors travel a celestial ecliptic where the progeny of moonlight spawn. Okay, I'm going to do a song now. Do a couple songs in the middle, at the end, or I don't know. Anyway, so this is a song that I wrote about, was inspired by a woman I saw walking around pushing a shopping cart in Alameda, where I live, and, got me thinking about all of our houseless brothers and sisters. Christmas trees in February, tinsel owls and polar bears, the songs of flightless birds will soar through starless nights and wingless prayers. Red and white polka dot slippers, a shopping cart full of empty things. She walks the streets with ghosts from the past, who knows she's not what she seems. Forgive my maudlin rhapsody. I come from haunted rooms where ghosts line up like ampersands, singing hymns to rabbit moon. The man on the bridge is quiet. He doesn't rail at passers-by. After years of waiting for nothing to change, he silently stares at the sky. A frightened mouse in a cold white cage nowhere to hide when wars are waged against those who have no place to go. A rack of coupons of tears and rage. Forgive my modeling rhapsody. I come from haunted rooms where ghosts line up like ampersands, singing hymns to a rabbit moon. And all the while the needle swings into black vinyl grooves. We speak of nothing in profound tones and act like sheep and wolves. Words like obstinate ponies covered with doubt and dust. Maybe they can change the future. Maybe they can save us. Forgive my maudlin rhapsody. I come from haunted rooms where ghosts line up like ampersands, singing hymns to a rabbit's moon. Thank you. Thank you very much. Sing another song, so I read another poem.
Both.
Both.
Yes.
Yes.
She sang and singing.
How about I
Oh, okay.
read another poem and then sing another song? How's that? All right. More politics.
That's all right.
Ghazal again. I know it's pronounced ghazal, but it's hard for me to say that. Ghazal again. How did we come to believe that space is the place for the rich to escape? When did we decide that our mission requires us to hate again? Smoke and mirrors reflect bombed and burned out cities composed of sinister requiems that plunder and break all beacons of love again. Dusty corridors are filled with wealthy magnates who only see what they can steal and brand as their own again. Home, home of the crazed, where the wretchedly merciless rule, where freedom is heard a disparaging words and the skies are on fire again. How did we come to accept falsehoods as truth and fact as contrived, while corruption condemns us to believe we could be, when we never were, great again? What miracles must we conjure to free ourselves from enslavement to consumption and depose all kings and sycophants, so that the osprey, whale, and wolf may reign again? Okay. While I live, I amble past a carpet of plovers and sanderlings, under a pastel and smoke-colored sky. While I amble, I am beguiled. I drive along Clear Lake. Mount Canocti mumbles in her sleep. While I drive, I listen. I wander past tents, trash, and drifting souls, and feel guilty for having a pillow on which to lay my head. While I wander, I stumble. I breathe while bombs continue to fall, the dust of rubble filling my nose and throat. While I breathe, I choke. I listen to a monsoon of tears from mothers whose prayers go unanswered. While I listen, I cry. I hum notes that well in my belly to comfort the tiny child inside. While I hum, I pray. I sleep the sleep of the condemned within the walls of Herod's court. While I sleep, I keen. I dream of wolves baying for retrieve from slaughter. While I dream, I grieve. I wake to the hammering, buzzing, and clanking of the city that pummels and consumes thought and bird song. Even as I surrender, I write. I'm just checking time.
6.
6.
Think about 2:25.
Okay, all right, let's see. Then, I think it's time to do another song. Or a last song. Never decide which song. But I think I'm gonna play you an old one called Glass House in a Hurricane. This song kind of came out fully formed right after my mother died. Doesn't really have anything to do with my mother, so I don't know why that happened, but it did, and I wrote it like probably 25 years ago, so this is an old song, but it kind of felt a little bit prophetic. Unfortunately, a lot of times poetry feels prophetic, and then I worry, did I make it happen? Come on. Tidal waves of troubles greet me with Wall Street winter stares. In a glass house in a hurricane, ecstasy loves despair. 10,100 roses meditate in spring rain. In a glass house in a hurricane, there's a rip and a tide of shame. I'm a victim of television wars and outnumbered Cherokee, wired into realms of hell inspired by covenants with greed. Awake, you dog-eyed sentinels, shed debts and false loyalties in a glass house in a hurricane. There's no enemy to defeat. Oh, they've sailed the seas of Odysseus, gambled penny ante dreams away under the thumb of a careless god whose reckless hand betrays the hearts of damsel heroes, the muscle in every slave in a glass house in a hurricane. Every dream has a price to pay. In every brand of mysticism, the wind becomes the king's wind. With the moon of the dead rigged in my head, I've learned to live in this tidal prison and bend to the wake of Neptune, to the wind of the wild Hades, to the hungry ghost of the Minyas, his return to the looking glass, hurricane muse of the lyre within. 10,000 wine red roses, meditating spring rain in a glass house in a hurricane. There's a rip and a tide of shame. 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 I can tell everybody was paying really close attention to the words and music, and I really appreciate that, you know, and the poems and the songs. You could just tell faces, looks of serious concentration on them.
We're going to scoot up here with you.
Yes, please.
Do an interview bit. And about a 20 minutes of interview, and then hopefully people will feel like joining in with questions of their own or comments. Fill up our waters first before we go.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Kimi. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So thank you again. It's nice to see you.
It's good to see you.
I'm going to start with a question that I ask myself and never have a perfect answer for. So imperfect answers are preferred. Why poetry? What does it do for you that you write it?
Well, there's a couple answers. I mean, initially, I've always hated grammar, and I'm terrible at it. I mean, I can't diagram a sentence. I can't tell you really how that works. And so when I was young, I realized I could write, not worry about, grammar and sentences and where things began and ended. And that was very freeing and liberating. And of course I wrote, I don't know. I mean, I started writing when I was really little, 7, 8, 9, I don't know. And it didn't show anybody, but it was a release. It was
Did you think of it as poetry at that time?
No, I guess not.
Well, it's all the genres that we speak of so authoritatively, and you get to the borderlines, they lead into each other pretty easily. But the most common way of thinking of poetry is, it rhymes. Most of our poems these days don't, but yet there are elements that we think of as poetry, and you presented kind of two genres of poetry. One might think of the song as a separate genre from the poem on the page. Do you think of them as different?
Well, the songs, a lot of them, most of the lines do rhyme. And I don't love rhyming, but for songs I feel like it, and it has a meter. It has a meter and a rhyme in the song. And that is a form, and it's like a poetic form. And then I make up poetic forms, like the While I Live poem was a form I made up. And that is,
Oh, I'm sorry.
that's okay. It's kind of a good challenge sometimes, I think, to try and fit in a form or make a form. And now I can't remember what the question was.
Are there two different genres, or
Right, did it have lyrics for your songs, or
Yeah, they're, I don't know, because I do both. I mean, I have to work a lot harder to write songs, because a lot harder. I have a few songs and many poems, because I want the words and the music to fit just right, So it takes a long time to get there.
do you have poets and songwriters that you have learned from for both of the genres we're talking about here today?
Yeah, I would say I love Tom Waits. And I just think he's an amazing lyricist. And I love Bob Dylan too. And there's so many. I mean, and Morrison I used to listen to. And then the poets, too many to name. Raphael. You know, I think I originally I fell in love with Neruda, Pablo Neruda, and Zora Neale Hurston, who wasn't so much a poet, but I loved her writing as well.
Nice language,
Yeah, and then I went to school. I went to get an MFA, not till I was 30, at the Naropa Institute in Boulder. You were going to ask about that anyway, right?
Talk about Naropa. Tell people, maybe some people haven't heard of Naropa before.
Oh yeah, I'm sure. I don't expect. So there's a school called the Naropa University was created by a Tibetan lama, and Kyogyam Trungpa Rinpoche. And when he made this university, he just picked people to be heads of departments. So like Allen Ginsberg and was the head of the poetry department, and Anne Waldman, and anyways, he did that. And a lot of, I mean, all my classmates went to Naropa. It's called the Jack Kerouac School of Disembodied Poetics. That's the really fun part. But they went because they wanted really badly to study with the beats. I didn't go there because of that, oddly enough. I went because it emphasized collaboration. I wanted to work with people on creative projects. So dancers, musicians, other poets. And I got to do that, you know, and it was fun. And I got to bring my song in and sang. We did a show called The Seven Deadly Sins with Marianne Faithfull. She was there. And so, you know, I got to be avarice, which it took me a long time to figure out, what does that mean, really? You know, so I had a lot of fun. And then, of course, I was influenced by those writers, some of whom I loved. Wasn't that wild about? Diana DePrima was a real taskmaster. She used to yell at us a lot. And I think that got me to work and think a lot more. And I came to love Alan probably more as a person than a poet even. He was so cool. He would come up to you and he'd always say, "How is your heart?" And then I would say, and he would say, "Well, what about that young man over there? He looks like he'd be a good guy." He was really funny. And I started meditating because I followed him into the meditation room. I was like, well, he's doing it. Maybe I'll try it too. And that's how that happened.
How did you, were you publishing before you went for your MFA, or did that start afterwards?
Afterwards.
And what do you think of where is the place of publishing in your poetry life?
Well, it's honestly the last part first is I don't get published. I've been published in a lot of journals and stuff, and been solicited for poems, but I tend not to send poems out blindly, basically because it's boring. You know, it's really boring to do submissions, and I know I should, and I don't, and I want to do more, and I will, but so when after I came back from Naropa, well, I had to kind of come back early because my mother died. And so I was really miserable and decided, fuck it, I'm just gonna go out and read whatever, wherever I want to. And I started going to these readings, And that was at a time when you went to poetry readings, people would heckle you, they'd boo you, they'd say, that's bad. You know, Julia Vinograd was kind of famous for that. And yeah, so I read like the Paradise Lounge and Cafe Babar and stuff like that. But it was weird because it was like that sadness. I was really devastated.
Yeah.
And somehow or other, I used that to push myself, to be kind of fearless, I guess. And I thought, well, I'll try this for a while. If it doesn't work, then forget it. But then it did work. And I started getting, asked to read, and I was the San Francisco slam poet. I was San Francisco slam, went to compete nationally in Boston and lost. We lost, but we lost Patricia Smith. I mean, she's pretty hard to hold a candle to. Made a lot of friends. That was so cool, though. Went to New York, Boston, making a lot of poet friends nationally. So, so then I also got lucky because both of my books were solicited by Jen Joseph, the publisher of Manic D Press. So I didn't have to work. And I think I was just surprised. Really? You want to publish my book? So I did. And then I dropped out of poetry for like 12 years when I was raising my son, and I was a single mother, and I was working full time, and I couldn't write, or I couldn't really participate well in I didn't have a babysitter, I never went out. And then when I came back in to the scene, probably 10 years ago, it's like people were so embracing, they were like, yeah, come on, read your poems. And then Jen published the second book.
Great. Well, I'm glad you came back in. Do you feel like that period was a growth period for you? When you came back to poetry, have your poetry changed for the better? Or are we rusty? Kind of.
Well, it was rusty at first, really rusty. I remember I wrote this poem over and over and over and over again. But yes, I think that I had matured. I mean, for one thing, I had a child. That's like, in a way, I didn't feel like I was a grown up till after I had Kai, and then it was like, oh, I gotta think about somebody else, not just taking care of myself. And it was very humbling, and yet. And I became stronger. I became stronger as a person. And then when I went back to writing, yes, my writing had changed significantly. It was just sort of more emotional, maybe, the younger writing, or something more in your face, perhaps. And now I work a little more with with form and something a little more sedate sometimes, not always.
Talk about emotion a little bit more. Some of it fuels your work. I would imagine some of this, the work that you read to us today was fueled by anger. I certainly have written a lot of poems fueled by anger, from personal poems about things that are really bothering me to, I don't do quite as many kind of public, that kind of engaging the public with my poetry, but you have, and you've got some good lines out of it.
Thank you. I was thinking about, because I've been writing a bunch of political poems lately, and it's not that, okay, I'm gonna sit down and write a political poem. It's more like, I'm really upset. I'm trying to sort it out in my mind, what it is I'm so upset about, and name it, and then hopefully help other people name it. And feel like, oh yeah, maybe that's one way to look at it. I don't want to preach to people, but it does really help me, because otherwise I can just get depressed and not do anything.
Do you do research for poems to get if you're writing about some particular incident, make sure, you know,
The facts are right.
the dates, the numbers of people were there, or who was, whatever. Make sure it's accurate, or is it more important to create kind of an impressionistic take on?
I would say, in a way, yes, I've done some research at times when I really had something I didn't want to lie. But I mostly write things I would say that are more impressionistic, because I don't want to get tangled in a lot of dates. But yeah, the facts are there. I mean, when I do write those poems, I do try and make sure that what I'm saying is actually true. It's not just something I thought up.
I'm happy with things that I've thought up often. I go into the fable and metaphor so easily. But you talked a little about form. You said you made up a form. I'm curious about that. Can you tell us about the form that you made up? And
Well, yeah, I mean, I've made up a few. I mean, I find that I like to write in triplets a lot. Sort of a form. That particular form, the While I Live poem, was a little bit stolen from Kevin Dublin, because he wrote this really beautiful poem called While I Write, and he had a refrain that came over and over, while I write, while I write, while I write. And then he would name all these things were happening, and I thought they were very cool. And I just love that poem. And so I decided to sort of take that and modify it a little bit and do while I write, while I live, while I walk, while I sleep, you know, all those different things. But so it's fun to sometimes make up a form and then try and stay within it.
some people see the slam poem as a form.
Yeah.
Did you write particularly differently for the slam audience than you do otherwise?
Yeah, I guess you would say that. I mean, there were just like a lot of yelling and, you know, emphatic.
Yeah.
They were. Oh, but the really fun thing I did is I had a word band called Blood Test that was also after Naropa. And there were 5 women, Angela Kuhn, me, Randall Holman, Sarah Beal, and Corey Weinstein. And we took the poems that we all contributed poetry, writing to it, but then we'd, what do you call it? You know, can't think of the word.
Mix them up together?
Yeah, no, we'd take the poems and we'd make them into like a song, like, you know, we'd each have parts and go back and forth and collage. I mean, it's very similar like what Chris Kamler and Susan Damroth are doing now, which they're really fun to see if you ever get a chance. But there were 5 of us, and
You all sang?
some of us sang a little more than others, but I think we sang a little bit, but it wasn't really about singing. These were poems that we were
emphasizing the language so people understood it.
Understood it, yeah, and was very playful, very fun.
Yeah. Play, big on play for me. I like the word Hoboken and broken. Let's open up to the audience. Anybody have comments or questions?
First, I want to admire your duplex, which is a form I just recently approached. It's very difficult, and yours was really amazing. And my question is, I went to read poetry with a musician who improvised, and then I read my poem within the music. And I realized, listening to you, that it's very different than a song. And I wondered, have you experimented with your own work where you accompanied your poem with like improvised music?
Right, that's a really good idea.
Or would you like to improvise for someone else?
Yeah,
I'd rather someone improvise for me. I love reading with musicians. I have read several times with musicians, and I love it. It's like just kind of moving, changing the rhythm to kind of fit whatever it is they're doing, and they do the same, you know, if they're listeners. If they're not listeners, it can be a little hard, but yeah, but I haven't, it's like I'm not a great musician. I'm sort of a basic musician, and so improvising to, oh no, I don't think so. I don't think I improvise to what I'm writing. So.
More questions?
Yeah.
Kimi, what are you up to as poet laureate lately in Alameda?
Not as much as I'd like to be. I tried doing a workshop for teens and nobody came.
Oh.
And I should have tried again, and I didn't. It's like, it feels very difficult to work with the city on some things, and they don't give me any money. And so I don't like to ask poets to come read for free all the time, you know? It doesn't seem right. Especially if I've had some great poets come, and yet I can't pay them. So anyways, okay, so I helped to curate and host the Alameda Island Poet Series. It's on Zoom. First Wednesday of every month, everyone's welcome. And so like, who do we have for March? We have something. I also do, I'm on the board of the San Francisco International Arts Festival, and we run a reading series called The Last Supper Party. And yeah, The Last Supper Party, and it's the first Saturday of every month. I'm very excited about this coming Saturday because it'll be Mimi Gonzalez and Elmaz Avenader. Yeah, anyways, they're really wonderful, and we do that at Timo's on 24th Street in San Francisco. It's like 24th and Harrison, little cafe. So it's because I kind of like spend a lot of time doing that sort of organizing and then doing the board meetings. It's like I'm finding it hard to do a whole lot else if I want to write, and I'm working on a new manuscript that I'm really trying to finish.
My hat's off.
Anyone else? Oh, good, yes.
I was gonna ask, as you've like grown as a poet and just as a person, do you like look back on what you've done in the past, and do you see like how would you look back on like the person you used to be? Do you like see it as like building blocks, or do you see like the growth, or do you ever reflect on it at all?
I would say I definitely see the growth. A lot of the pieces of the building blocks of poetry have remained the same for me, and it was actually something I learned at Naropa, where there's these what I think works as a good recipe is melody or mellows, phonos, image, and myth and meaning. Those 4 ingredients. So once I learned those, you know, I'm big on having a melos, which is not exactly, you know, singing, but it's like internal rhymes and slant rhymes and I don't know, various things, enjambment. But yeah, I mean, it has changed. I think that what has changed so much is that definitely seeing growth. I guess I want to say mature, but that doesn't really explain anything, does it? You know, maybe a little more circumspect than it used to be.
Yeah, you changed. You talked when I asked you about emotion. You said that you seem to write more from emotion now or then.
I think I always have, always do. You know, I mean, it is a kind of self-therapy too, because then if I can write it out, then I understand a little bit about what it is I'm actually, what I'm feeling, why I'm feeling, and what I might want to do about it. Yeah. Did you have a question?
Yeah, I am totally free to save a response for after all questions are done, but I heard you were interested in working with musicians, and I was wondering if I could just get any contact information from you or anything.
Yes, that'd be great. That would be really wonderful. We'll do that. So, anyone else? Yeah.
I'm enjoying the question about writing from a place of emotion. My question is kind of close to it. It's, where do you find yourself, inside yourself or outside yourself, when you compose poetry? You mentioned seeing a woman pushing a shopping cart. Glenn mentioned anger. But yeah, maybe I'm just curious to hear, like, what's it? What's that place like?
Well, I think a lot of poems are triggered by something I see, like the plovers and the sanderlings on the beach. I write a lot about birds. It's like, and then, so a lot of times there'll be like an image like that, and then I'll just write. I don't really know what's gonna come out. I don't have I don't plot it out or anything. So I suppose it's kind of external to internal. And then hopefully it gets external again. Because the idea is I do want people to understand, yeah, I want people to understand and feel something.
I remember reading once somebody said that I write to find out what I'm thinking.
It's a lot like I feel.
Okay.
Can you tell us about the manuscript you're working on now?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah, I don't know what to say about it. It's like poems that go back to maybe 2019. 2019 was when this book was published, and then some maybe even before, and yeah. So there's poems. Some poems about kids. I was a special ed teacher for 35 years, and so I write about children. There's more books, more poems about children in this book, but and then there's a lot of reactive poems to what socio-political situations, and then I sort of have there's this other Kimi, the lyric. I guess the Moonlight Meditations is maybe more closer to that, where I'm writing just sort of completely in metaphor. And I'm not always sure that people understand that work, so I don't always read it out loud a lot. But I love it, and it's just sort of metaphors that speak to me about, could be anything, a person, a place, a death, a life. So there's these different poems, and then there's incantations. I call them incantations. In a way, the American Zombies is like an incantation. It's sort of has a lot of energy, and so there were like 5 different. I broke into sort of 5 different types of poems, and then I tried to braid them together, because I didn't really want it to be just like, oh, here's a bunch of political poems, here's a bunch of lyric poems, here's a bunch of, and so hopefully that will work. It's still in process. Yeah.
There's a book in the library collection about how to put together your poetry manuscript. And I'm like, essays by 15 or 20
I read
poets
it.
in it. Have you read it? Yeah. They
What?
don't
They're all
always agree with
different?
each other.
They're all different, right? The manuscript, how to put together a manuscript, no, they're all completely different, and most of them don't work for me anyway. But on the other hand, it's like, it's interesting to see what other people do, and maybe one little piece of what someone says I might use in my composition process. Yeah, Louise?
In your education process, have you taught poetry, and if so, what level?
No,
Have not.
not really.
Interesting.
No, I was teaching children. I mean, sometimes I did poetry with children. I always felt like it was really, really important for me to teach them how to read. And so I kind of really pushed that when I was teaching. And I mean, I've taught workshops here and there to adults. And
Have you been involved with the youth poets that are in the Alameda Island group?
I often find them, but they're usually not from Alameda. Like, we've been pilfering from the Oakland youth poets, and they've been really wonderful. It's Zoom, so it's easy to do. But I wish I was more involved with youth poets. That would be really cool.
We talked about putting on an event with teens or for teens, and then nobody showed up.
It's a library.
What was the what were you going to do with that?
Well, I was gonna do sort of an identity thing, because, you know, teens are very focused on identity and who they are and how to express who they are, and to make sure they know that it's okay to be how they are, even though they may be different from other people. That kind of thing.
Yeah, we're in a place in the country right now that is attacking difference. That's scary.
It's very scary.
So why didn't any teens show up? Was it not promoted?
I don't know. It was maybe too close to the end of the year. It was maybe not promoted enough. It's hard to say. I mean, I probably did do it the wrong time of year. And maybe I'll try one more time before I'm no longer poet laureate. I was only supposed to be poet laureate till last August, because I did 2-year term, and then they said, well, will you do another term? And I said, well, I'll do one more year, because I kind of missed the first year because it was during pandemic. But I didn't want to commit to 2, but then they never did get another one, so I'm still poet laureate, and I'm expecting them to find a new one by, July or August.
Yeah. Is it the city or the library that does
The library sort of does the grunt work. They go through applications and choose maybe the top 3, and then they just hand them to the mayor, and the mayor decides. So the mayor may or may not have any kind of literary relation, I don't know, understanding, but anyways, that's how it happens.
Kim, you were talking about you being poet laureate because they couldn't move into that. The same thing happened here in Berkeley until I finally said, okay, I resigned, get a poet laureate. And they didn't have, the city of Berkeley didn't have a process.
Yes.
Like institute process. But that pushed them into creating a process, which then it establishes the poet laureate tradition.
Right.
So sometimes you have to push the city too.
Right. Yeah, I think Mary Rudge was the first poet laureate of Alameda, and she was for I don't know, 10 years, really for kind of like you, forever. And then, because I'm only like the 3rd or 4th. Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
Kathy David, who's president forever.
Recalling when Machine was the inaugural poet laureate of El Cerrito, and she had this open mic at the El Cerrito Library.
Yeah.
And apparently, El Cerrito is a cult spot for poetry open mics, because it felt like half the city was there to read their poetry for the first time ever, anywhere. And, you know, pulling her aside at the break and saying, you're gonna have to announce that we're not gonna get to everybody, and we're gonna schedule it. Because, you know, Ma Shane, she just wants to bring everybody in, right? It's like, you can't, you're making this job up as you go along in a lot of
Yes.
cases.
Yeah, it is basically whatever I want it to be. I mean, so I try not to put too much pressure on myself.
Mhm.
Yeah. There are a lot of poets laureate around here, and each program is different. I remember I was involved in an abortive attempt to create a Berkeley Berkeley poet laureate. We did a little research on how they were organized in different places, but this is a long time ago, so nothing came of it at that time. And Rafael Gonzalez became our poet laureate, and he's thanks for sharing a little bit about how you helped firm up the program from a spark to a flame.
Well, and it did get turned over to the library, which makes really good sense. I mean, after all, the U.S. Poet Laureate is chosen by the Librarian of Congress.
Yeah, formerly called, I don't know, what was it, what it used to be called? It was like the poet,
Yeah,
special assistant in poetry or something. It was something else.
Something
It's like
weird.
it didn't have such a glorious
in
name.
Berkeley, you mean?
No, I'm talking about
Oh, in the
the
US.
national poet.
The king of poetry. The king of poetry.
The king of poetry. Yes, well, that's what it would be now. Only kings.
That's funny.
Like,
You know, Kim, you were talking about emotion and poetry, and I was trying to think, I can't recall any poem that's devoid, that is devoid of emotion.
You're right, yeah.
You know, not even T.S. Eliot. You know, but the basis of poetry is emotion.
Yes. Yeah, you're right.
Even when it tries to reach an intellectual level, as T.S. Eliot did in a philosophical thing, but the underlying note is always emotion. If it weren't, who would read poetry? You have to feel it.
I agree.
It has to strike the chords of the heart, or it's just not poetry.
I so agree with you. I guess it's like, it's funny to talk about emotion because emotion always sounds like, well, emotion. We shouldn't be talking about emotion. You know, like, that's just, but it's true. You're right.
yeah, the mechanics are more paid more attention to than the impetus, than the reason why you're trying to fill those forms in the first place.
Mm-hmm. Great.
Any more thoughts from the out here? Well, thank you all for coming. I appreciate you.
Thank you for engaging with me on all these levels. Thank you, appreciate it. And I wanted to mention though, Ma Shane Wynn and Lee Herrick, the Poet Laureate of California, they're reading at Medicine for Nightmares tonight at 7. I'm gonna try and go. I think it'll be a great reading.
It's over in the Mission in San Francisco.
Yeah, 24th Street.
And how much is your book, and how do you want to pay it paid for?
Oh, anywhere but from 10 to 15 is fine.
All right.
And I can take cash, check, or Venmo, or PayPal. I don't have that other one. Whatever that other one is.
Neither do I.
Kimmy, when is your next reading? The next time that you yourself are
I don't always keep track. Oh, I know. think it's gonna be a Zoom reading. Dane Ince invited me to read on Zoom. Can I find the calendar? I think it's March 1st on Zoom.
That's next Saturday.
Is that right?
We're almost done with February already.
Yeah, sorry, I,
Do you have a website of your own, Kimi?
I don't. I'm on Facebook. Yeah, Zoom reading for Dane, 10 a.m. on Saturday. Yeah, I should probably try and promote it. That's also the day of the last supper party, so that night, it'll be a busy day. You'll be in San Francisco at 6 on Saturday. And I think I was asked to read in April or something, the Monkey House. I don't know. You know, things come up. They don't.
Monkey House is a little space here in Berkeley
Oh,
on
it is?
University. Yeah, it's very cute. It's very, yeah. Nice.
Monkey house?
Yeah, that's what I call it, Monkey House. It's on University, I think between like California and Bellevue, something like that. So, yeah,
I'll look it
look
up.
for it. I've been there a couple times. I went there for an open mic and it was just me and a comedian.
All right.
I laughed
Nice combination.
a little bit.
Read first or second?
I think I read first.
Just as well.
Warmed up the audience. Thanks again for everybody coming, and a little cart outside the door. They're past chapbooks from other poets. We also post these. I've recorded it for posterity, or at least as long as YouTube lasts. Berkeley Public Library does have a YouTube channel, and so search for that and Clearly Meant, and you'll find events dating back to 2015. So,
Thank you so much, Glenn, for doing this.
and feel free to hang out. We're not